we looked at like Maisel Brothers films. We looked at Frederick Weissman movies together,
Yeah.
and the verite, and we tried to create that feeling also with obviously Fat City and HUD, but we tried to keep a doc feeling with what we were doing.
Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America. Today's episode takes us behind the scenes of director Fisher Stevens' new drama, Palmer. The film tells the story of former high school football star Eddie Palmer, who has returned to his Louisiana hometown to rebuild his life after 12 years in prison. Eddie forms an unlikely bond with a neighbor from a troubled home, but his past threatens to ruin his new life. In addition to Palmer, Mr. Stevens' directorial credits include the feature films Stand Up Guys and Just a Kiss, the documentaries And We Go Green and Before the Flood, and episodes of the series Early Edition and the documentary series Dirty Money. Mr. Stevens spoke with director Kenneth Lonergan about filming Palmer in front of a virtual audience. Listen on for their spoiler-filled conversation.
Okay, Kenneth Lonergan here with Fisher Stevens, director of Palmer and many other things. Hi, Fish.
Hi, Kenny. Great to be with you. I wish we were together in person on a stage with a cigarette, talking to each other and a glass of water.
We could go back to even Johnny Carson days of a cigarette and a cocktail.
That's right.
Much more civilized.
That's right.
So yeah, and to have seen the movie with a nice audience instead of what we're doing, but at least things are getting. People are seeing things, and people's work is getting out there, and we'll soldier through as best we can. So Fisher, I think the most obvious question that for me right off the bat is like, so having directed so many documentaries and so many great documentaries, and before that and during that, having come from a film, television, and stage background, there's not really a lot in movies in cinema that you're not really familiar with. But what was surprising anyway to you about moving from like documentary into a feature with a made up story?
Well, yeah, I was trying to find something. I actually missed working with actors. I love all my subjects, and I got to work with Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds as a documentarian.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to find something that I could sort of do low budget, manageable, and kind of take a bit what I learned from making all these documentaries and put it into a fiction film. So this script just felt like I could manage it and handle it, and also try to drop into a different world. It just felt right and manageable, so to speak.
So was there anything that it's funny because a lot of you could in some way see this being a documentary following this guy as he comes home from his stint in prison. But it has a kind of a 70s cinema verite feel to it, the way you filmed it and the way the performances are all very natural and low key, and obviously it's a part of the world that's it's small town America, and so it seems like not a huge stretch from. It's not like you went to outer space right away, but
right.
But I'm just curious because I've had so many. I've only done 3 movies. You've done many more movies than I have, but I found each time there was something I wasn't expecting that was either a difficulty or a problem or an obstacle or a challenge, and each of the 3 movies I made were like, it was totally unexpected, whatever was going to come in the way, and not necessarily bad, but just unexpected. Is there anything that comes to mind for you on the making of this film, either the development of the script or anything at all? I'm just kind of curious.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd say, well, first of all, when I read the script, I thought, I can make this for like a couple $1 million, right? Because it's like small town, America, rural, you could find, but those days are over to make a movie for $2 or $3 million in anywhere.
What's the budget of this film?
It was, we had under 5 million cash, it was under 5.
Yeah.
So I hope they're not upset for me to tell you, but
I
yeah.
don't know why they get so upset about that, but
Yeah, I don't know. We had tax credits, so it was we had more money to play with, but um, I basically started scouting in 2018. I thought I had cast somebody that had committed, and we got, Kenny, casting. One of
yes,
one of the lousy things about fiction that we don't deal with in documentaries is in documentaries, we could just go and shoot, we don't need a
Yeah.
cast. We had to cast a certain caliber of star to get even that, any budget like that. So I went down and started scouting because I had an actor look good, had a kid I loved in 2018, found some locations, and the guy who said he had the money didn't have the money.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know if you've been there before, but
It sounds familiar.
yeah, the money, I had half the money from a friend of mine, Daniel, who was going to put up half, but the other half was fake. So, or didn't happen. So I was depressed. I went and continued to shoot this documentary that I was making anyway. And then, so that was unexpected. I stayed with it. And then, Justin Timberlake wasn't even on my list of actors. And because I had been working with DiCaprio, Leonardo on a doc, his manager read it and suggested Justin. So that was unexpected. And then Justin was on a world tour. So I had to wait for him. But when he said yes, then the money fell into place. But then the location that I had chosen was that the budget that we had and the location was completely bullshit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't right. It wasn't real. So
Yeah.
I had to change states.
Where did you start, and what's the actual location that you ended up in?
The script was Alabama,
Mhm.
so it was rural America. Alabama, there was no crew that we could find. So we found a little town outside Georgia, Savannah,
Right.
but we couldn't. The budget skyrocketed. And anyway, we found we put 4 towns together and made it one town in Louisiana near the Mississippi border.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so we were really lucky. And I really wanted all authentic locations, as real as possible. I hired my great friend Happy Massey to production design, who works with me on a lot of stuff. He's wonderful. We really wanted to keep everything authentic. So there was it was all real, pretty much real places, and the church. And I also tried, like a documentary, I tried to incorporate the community. If it was the church, I used all the people, the real church, the parishioners.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Schools. Yeah. So I tried to just bring the community in as much as I could.
Did you hire a lot of those actors local, the smaller parts?
Yeah, well, we were about an hour outside of New Orleans, so they were all pretty much from Louisiana or from New Orleans. Yeah, actually Lucille, who plays Emily's mom, who's brilliant, Wynn Everett, she's from Atlanta. The 3 guys were all pretty much local. Jesse was from North Carolina, the sheriff. But yeah, we kept it really local. The only one who wasn't were like Juno Temple is from England, and June Squibb came in from LA, and Ryder and Justin. And Craig Sheffer was actually the bartender, by the way.
Oh, that's Craig. I thought he looked familiar.
One of my old brothers, like my brother, yeah.
So Ryder is from LA.
Ryder was from LA, but he had a Southern accent. But that was fake. Really? He is such a gifted, talented actor that he worked very hard on the accent. He had an acting coach who was from the South who helped him. And then Justin, who's from outside of Memphis, but Justin knew this Mississippi accent really well. Yeah. Justin and me and the coach, we constantly were working with the kid on his accent. But he's from LA. And it was his first movie.
He's really wonderful. And I was noticing particularly his accent was totally consistent. So I was pretty sure he was.
Yeah.
It was
from the South. I know he was a miracle, that kid.
No, he's wonderful. And I thought Justin was great. And I really admire him because he's been acting for quite a long time now. And I just think he gets better and better. And he's just got such a good I've never worked with him, but I can see from the outside that his work ethic is so good because he really is serious. He's not a showboater. He's very emotional. He's contained. He's like,
Yeah.
I just really respect him a lot. And it's a terrific performance, I think.
Yeah, he was amazing to work with.
So I know you worked on the script beforehand with the screenwriter who I'm ashamed to say
Cheryl Guerrero. Yeah.
Whose movie it should say by the screenwriter. I'm sorry to say that, DGA, but it's
okay.
It's a nice credit. But they have that in England, and Paddy Chayefsky had it on Network. It's the only time I've ever seen it in an American movie. It says Network by Paddy Chayefsky. But I don't know how he got that, but he was Paddy Chayefsky.
He was Paddy Chayefsky, exactly.
Yeah. So just talk about the script a little bit, like, and how you guys worked on it. And was the script set when you were shooting? Did you do any improv? Did you?
Yeah.
You did. Yeah. Can you just talk about that whole?
Yeah. The art. So the script, first of all, I just want to say that my nephew, Max, when he was 7, was basically Sam. So he wore dresses, he played with dolls, all his friends were girls.
Yeah.
And my sister and her husband really encouraged him to be who he was. It was really moving. So when I read that script, I couldn't believe how authentic that was for me, and that Cheryl had gotten it so brilliantly. So Cheryl had shared with me openly that she was kind of the antithesis of Sam. She's gay, and she knew it that at 7, not that she was gay, but she knew she was different and playing with trucks and anyway, so there was a real authenticity to that character. And the Palmer character was based on a friend of hers, or a few people that she had met and put them together. But it was really important to both of us that it was authentic. So we worked for about a year and a half just on making it as real as possible. We took a trip together to the South to scout just before we were even in production, just to try to tweak the dialogue and make sure everything was real. There was like a couple other scenes that we cut out when we didn't think they were right or real.
Yeah.
And then Justin had a few notes, so we made adjustments constantly. Because Kenny, as you know, Kenny, I'll just say, Kenny and I have known each other since we knew each other in high school, but we were in a theater company together. Kenny and I both come from the theater. I always knew that it was imperative that I rehearsed with the cast. So Justin and Ryder came 2 weeks early on their own dime to Louisiana, and we then shaped, because all the other actors were local, we rehearsed quite a bit and shaped and retooled dialogue in that rehearsal process. Because there were things, anytime it felt fake or phony, we would bring it up and run it. So we were really lucky to get to do that.
So when you did that, would you do like, I know like Scorsese does improvs, which he then writes down the results of, and then people more or less stick to that. Would you say it was in that line, or just kind of finding a ballpark for the scene to sit in and then kind of let it loose when you're shooting?
We changed some of it because of improv, especially with the 3 guys.
Right.
Some of that was improvised. There was another thing. You've heard of that movie White Boy Rick?
Yes.
Okay, so the real White Boy Rick Wersha, the guy that it was based on, he actually was about to get out of prison, and I had met him through a friend on the phone. And so he also read the script and gave Cheryl and I a few notes about Justin's monologue when he talks about being in prison and all that. That was really helpful.
Yeah.
And we had Rick kind of riff on stuff, and we put a bunch of his thoughts into that, which really helped. So in that sense, it helped. And then, yes, in rehearsal with the guys, I would say we came up with stuff. I'm very open to that. I don't like to talk shit about critics, and I try not to read reviews, but one of the reviews that I did happen that me and Cheryl were bitching about today was that one really nice critic pointed out that an 8-year-old would never talk like, there's a line when they're drinking the root beer float, and it opens up with how do you like it? And the kid says heaven in a cup.
Yeah.
And the writer of the review said, oh, no 8-year-old would say that line. That's ridiculous. It shows you Cheryl's like, well, that line was an improv by the kid.
Yeah.
When I said action, he just happened to say that, like, and didn't even tell me.
Yeah.
So the kid writer just came up with a few lines. Do you know they drink tea in England? Like,
Yeah.
what? He just fucking said it. I'm like, I love this.
It's really amazing what even the friendliest critics don't know about what you're doing, and they always think you're trying to get away. If they're mad at you at all, it's always like, oh, they think they're going to get away with this bullshit. And you're like, I'm trying to fucking get away with anything. I'm just trying to do a good job.
Yeah, we're just trying to make a movie, man.
And they're always wrong. I mean, even when they like you, God forbid, I
Yeah.
hope it punishes me for saying that, but it's such a different mindset when you're inside it and when you're outside of it. And
Yes.
not that everyone
Yes.
doesn't love good reviews, but it's like, it's just,
I know.
it's
You just have to get beyond it.
story doesn't surprise me at all. As a matter of fact, it supports a theory of mine, which is that when something is really important, it gets noticed one way or the other. And sometimes the way they notice it is negative, but it's something jumps out in like a nice line like that's actually fresh and kind of surprising. Gets the attention, and for the discerning audience like myself, you're like, wow, that's a really great line. But if you're
okay, good.
trouble,
Well,
you're
I'm going to tell Ryder.
I can jump on that line.
Good. I'm going to tell Ryder that Kenny Lonergan liked his line. So
You
that's
tell
good.
him, yeah, you tell him
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that scene is so nice. And I also really like the way their relationship doesn't take a predictable course. I mean, you can see it warming up pretty quickly, but you can see that it doesn't. There's just a lot of places it could have gone that it doesn't go. In terms of his Palmer's resistance to the kids, gender issues, and the kids' sort of security at home and with himself, and then also the chagrin at school when he's getting picked on and not racked by doubts of his own, but pushed into other people's doubts. And there's just a really nice kind of fluid flow to that, and you never, I was not really concerned that it was going to go somewhere. It never for a minute seemed like it was going anywhere that I'd really been before that I expected it to go, which was really, really nice.
Oh, that's good. As a director, I did have this dilemma that it wasn't a dilemma until the producers and Justin and people would go, what is the turning point where Palmer finally accepts Sam, right? That was a question as a director. Everyone was,
yeah.
And Cheryl and I had this discussion many times that there wasn't one moment like that movie moment where cut to Palmer, excuse me, looking at Sam. We made a conscious effort to like let it just be. And there's your dog. It's cute.
Yeah. I think that's great because that's such a movie thing to expect. I mean, it's such a doggy, go over there. Okay. So I hope,
it's okay.
It's such a movie thing like this, and a new movie. I mean, it's like checking a box, like where's the turning point? What's the big moment? And that moment is almost always a disaster. I feel like it's a sentimentalization. I mean, I feel like most of the time when something shifts like that big, you don't really notice it till later. And like there is in the film, there's several moments that are leading up to it. It's just like sort of a sea change. It's not like a turning. It's not like a total bend in the road. So I really
and Justin was really cool with that because he got it, and everybody got it at the end. But that was a question, and also when I was trying to raise money, as you know. that question, what is the turning? And I was like, there isn't one. It's the cumulative.
Yeah.
Them being together. So
you also get more out of it that way because you can see him not sure how much he should say. He's like weighing it. Right. He's wrestling with it. He's not like prejudiced, and then he becomes liberated in his mind. And the movie doesn't present it that way at all. And it also gives, I think, much more to play for both of them because he's like in the store with the Halloween costume, and that like he's seen a lot of girl stuff till then. He said something at the beginning, then he didn't say anything for a while. Now there's the Halloween, but that doesn't work either. So it's much more like, and I just think it's such a I mean, it's a shame because you want them, you get these, it's a little bit like the critics, you get these comments and these expectations of what
Right.
mark, which are you hitting? And that's just because people are like
Right.
trained to know where they are, but they're always like they tend to, maybe they were the strong point of the script 20 years ago, but now I always feel they're
Now
like
it's
the point,
changed.
because it's like sucking the life out of it to make a screenplay moment that, you know, like, oh, here's the third act complication or whatever it is they say in those books. And
Yeah.
it just drives me crazy because it just cheats everybody. It cheats the audience. It cheats the act and the actors, especially because there's much less for them to do.
Well, you don't want the audience, you don't want to tell the audience. I mean, I think a big challenge also in raising the money for this movie was like, what kind of boy is Sam? Is he trans? Is he gay? And I'm like, he is this 7-year-old boy who, you know, is who he is, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, you just try to don't judge these things. And as a filmmaker, you just want to like it's kind of like what we try to do in documentary is we just try to show and not tell the audience how to feel with what, you know, if you're making an environmental film or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
we tried to do that with this too, which I think also made it difficult to raise money, to be honest, or
Because it's
have
hard
people.
because it's hard to identify before they've seen it, I guess.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's such a continuing problem. It's just,
Yeah.
and like, it also, I mean, it also makes no sense on any level, because suppose you said the right thing in the conversation. That doesn't mean it's in the movie. I always think those
It doesn't mean it's in the
are-
movie. Right.
it's
Right.
unbelievable.
Right.
It's like what what words are you going to say in the meeting with the financier or the production company that about the script or movie that doesn't exist, that's going to make them relax about the movie and script that doesn't exist, that's not going to have that conversation in it anyway.
Right.
But you know
Well,
what I mean?
I got lucky. I found finally people that just got it, you know? So we got really lucky.
Well, I guess
Thank God.
maybe it's a self-cleansing oven because it keeps you away from people who are going to give you a hard time when you're making the movie.
Right. When you're making it. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, no, I'm always, I was in a meeting once and they were like, I was like, the character's about 40. And they're like, don't you think it'd be better if he was 30? And I was like, no, he's about 40. And they were like, well, we think 30 is better. I was like, okay, he's 30. The script was not written. So it didn't really matter what and I should have just said, yeah, 30, man, much better. And then a year later, when you're casting it, you know, not doing.
But Kenny, along that point, I have to say that, and you'll relate to this. To cast Palmer, I needed somebody to play between 30 and 35, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very small window.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get the lists and half of them, you think, oh my God, I would love to work with them. They're never going to work with me on this budget. And then half of them are like, I don't know, this guy is not great. So it was so difficult to be able to cast on a movie where you're paying somebody very little.
Yep.
And find that actor, you know, and that's the problem with features versus docs, where I can just get the camera and go. But
no, it's really difficult, and I mean, I always think like, I mean, just to stay on the age issue. Sometimes to me, it's like whoever plays the correct age is who you want, whether they're in real life a few years older and younger, obviously doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but like some age, like if he was an older ex-con, that's a different story. Like
movie.
In this, and if he's younger, that's different too. So
exactly.
I think that completely goes. I mean, I think that really makes a lot of sense depending on the story. But like his grandmother could have been 10, 15 years younger, I think, or somewhat older, but not too old to be not moving. You know, it's true, but there's room for breathing sometimes. And then, it's really tricky with those lists.
Yes, those lists they're everything.
Then if there's nobody who's like what you had in your head, then you do have to stretch your
adjust. Yes,
and which is often not that bad. But then people start making suggestions that are really just not.
Yes. I mean, I didn't think of Justin, like I said, and it was just, he was great in so many ways, you know. but I had a 7-year-old and then I had a 90-year-old because June
Yeah.
Squibb turned 90 while we were filming.
Wow.
So that was amazing.
She's wonderful. That's
Yeah,
great.
I love her. Oh, I love her. Man, I hope we're doing that at 90, man.
Yeah,
She
me
was
too.
incredible.
I don't-
She was
I don't-
incredible. So, you know, but you know, a little shout out. One thing that really helped me, Kenny, and I'm going to give your wife a little shout out that I'm working with Jay on Succession, and having the experience of that show and that ensemble, right? And I literally went from shooting that to going into Palmer.
Yeah.
And there was something that reminded me of our theater company, Naked Angels, also
Yeah.
of this kind of ensemble. And Succession is that this kind of ensemble show where everybody is so it just feels like a theater company.
Yeah.
And the one thing that Justin and I tried to do, and him as the lead, is we tried to bring that into this and
Yeah.
make everybody really feel like we're a company and a company of actors performing. And I think that really helped me. And coming from, you know, working on that show just reminded me of like what it could be like.
Yeah. No, I think it pays off and it shows because like, I don't know why it's so elusive. Like some movies that like really, you really get a feeling of the town or the city or the neighborhood, and some good or bad, you really just don't like a movie, like some, you know, really well-known example, like The Last Picture Show, for instance, like that town is like, you really get what the town is, you get where everything is, you get who everybody
Totally.
is. And I think this movie really creates a town out of 4 other towns.
Great.
And the
Great.
people in it really, I'm not surprised at all to hear you say that, because it doesn't feel like people are dropped in. You feel like they're around, and you feel like they're kind of around in the way they would be around with that kind of a population. And they know it's the amount each other, it's nice in the bar when the friend who's the sheriff, who's the son of the sheriff, comes up to him, and just the
Right.
different, those subtle dynamics. He comes up, you're a little nervous, and then they hug, so they're friends.
Oh, good.
Then there's a lingering nervousness because they're friends, but he's still the son of the sheriff. So that's not, you can see that group doesn't really hang out together all the time the same way they
Right.
might have when they were young. And that's just like, I think all that just enriches the movie so much, because like, it's not just like his story, her story, his story, and his story dropped into a background. Like it's really like it feels like an organic place with people who have real like relationships or lack thereof.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, that's great. You saw that because we definitely worked on that.
Yeah,
When we were doing it.
I was thinking,
But you know,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I watched. I mean, and maybe I don't know if it's good or bad, but I watched Last Picture Show like 3 times. I watched,
Yeah.
you know, 70s. You know, I really got into that whole kind of vibe of HUD and Cool Hand Luke and Fat City from this, you know, John Hughes. I was just kind of obsessed with those movies, and those directors use also real people from the real towns, and I just love that kind of stuff. And
Me too, and I just think it's such a good guide. I mean, not that people shouldn't do new things and different things, but I feel like just it's you feel the lack of story points and highlighted moments that are like pins in the map that are helping us follow the story, which we don't need, and to me are always just dead in it. And I think, like, I was thinking of that actually. I was thinking about I was trying to get Casey Affleck to watch Blue Collar. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, Yaphet Kotto and
Richard Pryor and
Richard
Harvey
Keitel.
Yeah, and it's not a, I wouldn't say it was a great movie, but it's a really good movie. And Casey finally watched it and was like, "Oh yeah, it's really good." He turned off on it for the first 5 minutes, and then he pushed through, and he was like, "Oh no, it's really good." And I was just thinking, and I said, "Yeah, I think even when things aren't working out so well in those 70s movies, the template is better because it's like it just allows for a certain richness that's not like right on the mark of what the story points and not just the plot, but the emotional plot. Like here he is. He's out of prison. He's bitter. Then he meets a kid, and he's like, he hates him. Then he thinks
Right.
he shouldn't be it has a much more of a real flow, and just is so much richer for it, I think. And they did that. Just kind of 70s movies, the ones that aren't so great, have their own problems, but they're not those kinds of
Yeah.
problems.
Well, yeah, and also in today's world, when I started acting in movies, we would be on location in towns, and it would be like, the movie's here. These people are shooting a movie, and now it's like, no, man. Every town in America has had a movie set on it, pretty much. We did one or two of our towns that were rural enough, but it's tough, it was not what I expected, even up there by Mississippi.
So you've done, your documentaries are covered a wide variety of subjects and a wide variety of places in the world. So I'm just kind of curious, like how, if can you talk about like the differences, or not just the differences, but just talk about and thinking of cinematography and the camera and what you're doing with that to capture the story. Like how do you find just the different colors in making a feature, fictional feature, and like capturing the environment in a doc?
Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, did you feel frustrated that you couldn't just just point your camera, like you had to choose what you're going to do? Did that make you feel a little like stifled at all, or how did you find it?
At times for sure it did. And I mean, it would have been a lot easier if I could have just pointed the camera and let them just talk and just go. You guys go anywhere, we'll light. We just follow you. I mean, just go. So the thing was that actually my DP, who I love, Tobias Schleisler, I met him shooting a documentary in Hong Kong on electric car racing. He shot for me for a few days, and I just thought, here was a guy who's like done Beauty and the Beast, Dreamgirls, all the people, and he put the camera on his shoulder, and I was like, dude, you need to do this again. So I called him when I was doing this movie, and he goes, Fisher, I have lighting budgets bigger than the whole budget of this movie, but I will do it. We will do it. Because he had a break. I got him on a window.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. He got so excited. But we looked at like Maisel Brothers films. We looked at Frederick Weissman movies together.
Yeah.
And the verite. And we tried to create that feeling also with obviously Fat City and HUD. But we tried to keep a doc feeling with what we were doing. And I mean, like, I wish I had more time to film. The one thing about docs, Kenny, is that you get you can work on them for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
This was like 25 days.
Yeah.
Kid only worked 6 hours a day. The restraint was crazy. So we were shooting a lot of handheld. We couldn't lay track a lot.
Yeah.
We didn't have time.
Yeah.
We just we didn't have time. But
did you do shot lists beforehand? Did you get to the set and figure out what to do there? How did you approach it? Just
I shot listed. Yeah, we shot listed. We did 2 shot lists. Me and Tobias shot listed everything in prep, and then I would redo it the night before, or we'd make certain adjustments. The problem was that Timberlake and I also, I would often rehearse with him after work. So it was a lot. I mean, I don't think I slept that entire, I didn't sleep at all because I was shot listing with Tobias. I was rehearsing with Justin. We mixed, obviously we let some of the shot listing didn't work. When we got there, we changed around. I storyboarded 3 sequences only. I storyboarded the 2 fight scenes, the fight in the bar. Right. I storyboarded the fight in the trailer, that little trailer. Right. Dean Winters, by the way, the Allstate guy, Mr. Mayhem, who plays Juno Temple's scumbag boyfriend, Jerry.
Yeah.
Who is a friend of mine, was doing me a favor by playing this small role, who I loved. basically called me a week before he was supposed to shoot, and had dislocated his shoulder and had stitches here. He'd fallen on Halloween, and showed up, and so we had to think about, well, dude, we had this big fight, so we had to get a stunt man. I mean, that was like a whole other unexpected nightmare, because he was literally like in a cast until we go rolling, and he'd take the cast off and he'd be like this. So I storyboarded that, and then that whole ending scene with Sam, running for Palmer, that whole night scene basically was very, very, very storyboarded, because we had to shoot it in one night, and we only had the kid for like 3 hours. So that was nervy.
It's a beautiful shot in the car.
Thanks.
Really, very painful.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you wish you had more time always, I guess. And I think that's true even for these huge movies, but I wouldn't know.
What is the biggest or the most days you've had to shoot a movie? I mean, Margaret was very long, so you must have had a lot of days for that.
Margaret, it was Margaret. We had 50, ended up being 52 days, which isn't bad. But the movie was quite long. The script was 170 pages or 168 pages. And a lot of dialogue, but that felt comfortable. Pretty, it wasn't, and it was 5 days a week. It wasn't murder. It was not, it wasn't leisurely. But I remember there was this one day pretty early on in the shoot where we were up at the Upper West Side, which is my neighborhood where I grew up. So I was very comfortable up there. And we'd done, like, it was Anna Paquin walking to school or something, which I really liked, because we had a nice slow motion shot. And we got up there and we did that. And a couple of people who I knew walked by, as they always would when I was shooting in that neighborhood, like my parents' friends or something. And we were done, and finished with that sequence at 3 o'clock. And then we had another entire sequence up at what was supposed to be the interior of Manhattan Theater Club. And at 3 o'clock, I was like, if this was the end of my day, this would just be great. Like, did a really good day's work. We got nice stuff. It's 3 o'clock. I was up at 6. I'm ready to go home. This would be fantastic. And then I went home at 8 that night. But it was 50 days was fine. And then we had 2 days or 4 days tacked on, which we picked up at the end. I can't remember, 2 or 4 days. I can't remember. So that was comfortable. But 28 days on the other film and 30 days on the one. Brutal.
Tough. Yeah, I took on a Saturday, I asked Justin, and I asked the DP. So just Justin, me, the DP, and a camera loader. We snuck out and took out his car, and we just filmed like a doc. That was like a doc. We just filmed Justin driving, because we needed it for connective tissue.
That stuff's really important. It always feels better and freer. I mean, we did the same thing with Casey in Manchester by the Sea. We had a day of just him driving around, and we had a day, and then we had a second unit, believe it or not, on such a small movie. And they took a lot of those really nice shots of Gloucester and Manchester and Cape Ann were done and I told them what I wanted, more or less, and they went out and they shot all this beautiful stuff. But that's so liberating when you do that, and you're just like,
that felt amazing. And all the football footage, there's the scene in the high school football.
That
was like a doc.
Yeah, and that was a real local game, I assume. Or did you?
No,
that whole football game was not a lot of extras in football costumes.
Well, what it was the coach, Coach Dizer. We got to be tight, me and the coach. Yeah. So I asked him to choreograph. That was one team playing the defense in one color jersey against the offense in another color jersey. So they had designed plays. Again, man, I had the boy. I had to shoot that whole scene. We almost ran out of time. Actually, the line producer, like, I'll never forget. We're shooting. I'm like down on the field doing the one thing as they're lighting, and it was getting late, and he comes up, he goes, "What is going on? We are never going to make this day. What are you?" I'm like, dude, he freaked everybody out. And basically it cost us about 10 minutes to have a tantrum. I know it was the line. It wasn't my producers. It was my line producer who was like freaking out about the kid, the hours. Yeah. That was one of the only stressful, but the football game was like filming a documentary, and I loved it. We had so much fun, and That
Yeah,
was crazy.
I wonder if anybody really feels like they free and have time. Like you hear about Stanley Kubrick and how he set this up and it didn't look right, so he did it again. And then he's got Ryan O'Neal and Marissa Berenson in makeup and costumes for a year before he starts shooting the movie. And then even
I
read
know.
about Howard Hawks, and he just gets there and he doesn't like the scene, so they make up another scene. And you're just like, where's the horrible, brutal, suppressive pressure in these situations? And
I remember
of it
I did this movie as an actor, Only You, with Norman Jewison directing, who, he was a legend at the time, right?
Yeah.
And every day I got to the set, I was like, okay, we got no time. There's no trailer. There's like, it's all the storyboard. You're just like this.
Yeah.
But I remember like Norman calling me into his trailer one morning before shooting in Positano, Italy, by the way. He's drinking his espresso. He's got all the papers lined up on his trailer, in his trailer. He's having a beautiful breakfast. His assistant is bringing him fresh squeezed orange juice. And he's telling me all about, what's going on in America, and we're having this leisurely chat. And I was just like, and then, we shoot a 2-page day, a page and a half day. I mean, those days, forget it, man. Like, what? That's never happened anymore right now. No.
That's not. I mean, when I go into a theater, I feel kind of warm and comfortable and at home. And much as I see many more movies than I see plays, so it's not that. But then when I walk down a street and I see a movie set, I'm just gripped with fear. Like I was watching a movie the other night, and in the movie there was a movie. I didn't finish. This was a movie. It was called Stunts. It was a Robert Foster 70s murder mystery about stuntmen who were killed off on the set. Not a great picture, but I swear to God, I was like watching the movie, and the guy who's about to be murdered is driving to work on a highway, and he's driving, and then he gets to, and there's like movie trailers and camera and crews set up, and I just get this weird cold sweats because I just associate the actual shoot with like this incredible tension and pressure. And I would really
I know. It's so nice. I know we have to wrap up, but I just want to say it's so nice when I love directing so much, but I have to say walking on a set as an actor and not having to deal with like that pressure today. I mean, I know learning the lines is, but it's so nice not to have to worry about making the day.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think we were supposed to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I think that's 50 minutes. That's pretty good. Well, Fisher, congratulations on the movie. It's wonderful. It's great to still be talking to you after 30 years.
Kenny, no, we met in high school, dude.
Damn.
Walden, Jared Side, Raphael Sparge, Walden, remember?
40 years.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I would remember Suffering Colonel, bro. That was your first play, right?
No.
Full length.
It was the first full-length play. I think it was the first full-length play I had produced. Not in high school or
right. Great, but still, maybe we should relook at that, Kenny. Suffering Colonel. Suffering.
Okay.
I just want to shout out to the DGA members of Succession because I said I would. Nicole, Nick, Joe, everybody, Christo. Anyway.
All right, man.
Kenny, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, DGA.
Thank you, DGA. Right. Kenny, can't wait to hang when madness is over.
Yeah, that would be really nice. All right, buddy. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. If you'd like to hear more, The Director's Cut is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned in the coming weeks as we bring you discussions of films from George C. Wolfe, Paul Greengrass, and Andrew Heckler. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow film buffs find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.